For centuries, the world has harbored secrets no man could read. Clay tablets etched with cryptic sigils, stone slabs bearing silent witnesses. These symbols resemble no known alphabet. They are scraps of tongues that died thousands of years ago, leaving no heirs behind. Generations of brilliant linguists and code breakers faced these relics and fell short. Even the pinnacle of human intellect was utterly outmatched. Data was too scarce. The permutations, endless. The master key lay buried deep in the soil of time. Then, the machines woke up. Processing power now devours millions of variables per second. Algorithms hunt patterns invisible to the eye, yielding solutions no human could imagine. In the last 10 years, artificial intelligence has breached the walls of impossible scripts. Here are 6 tales of digital resurrection. Where man saw silence, the machine found a voice. The first story, and perhaps the most haunting, lies within the charred husks of Herculaneum. Year 79. Vesuvius didn't just bury Pompeii. It erased Herculaneum. A searing wave of ash and gas, a pyroclastic nightmare, struck with zero warning. The city vanished in minutes. Every soul snuffed out. Everything entombed under 20 meters of molten earth and volcanic debris. But Herculaneum was different. The heat was so intense, it didn't ignite the wood, it carbonized it. It turned history into brittle charcoal. In the 1700s, excavators stumbled upon a palace, the Villa of the Papyri. Inside sat the only intact library of the ancient world. 1,000 scrolls. Jet black, compressed into tight calcified lumps, as fragile as a dried leaf. Every scroll is a potential ghost. Lost masterpieces of Greek philosophy, Roman science, and epic poetry. One-of-a-kind texts. Literary treasures the world believed were incinerated forever. The catch? They were impossible to read. To touch them was to destroy them. Attempting to unroll the papyrus turned it into meaningless dust. 300 years of failure. Chemicals, steam, mechanical tension, a few fragments surfaced, but most remained stubborn black stones. Then came 2023, a miracle. A coalition of physicists and coders launched the Vesuvius Challenge. The plan was pure madness. Use a particle accelerator to peer inside the scrolls. Virtual unrolling. Medical-grade imaging for a patient dead for 2 millennia. They would generate a 3-dimensional map of the scroll's interior. No physical contact. No risk of destruction. But there was a fatal flaw. The ink was carbon. The charred papyrus was carbon. On an X-ray, they were identical. To the human eye, it was black ink on black paper. Absolute invisibility. But the neural network sensed what we could not. Engineers fed the algorithm microscopic textures from known fragments. They taught it to feel the weight of the ink on the surface. The physical signature was infinitesimal, a variation in thickness measured in mere microns. Sifting through terabytes of data, the AI began to see. Ghostly Greek letters started emerging from the darkness of an unopened scroll. The first word to bridge the 2,000-year gap was porphyros, ancient Greek for purple. One single word sent shockwaves through the room. If you can read one word, you can read the whole library. 1,800 scrolls, an entire lost epic of human thought, locked in carbon, waiting for the machine to set it free. Buried in soot, preserved by catastrophe, and finally decoded by an algorithm. The past was no longer out of reach. By early 2024, full columns were appearing. It was a treatise on pleasure and the sensory joy of food. The suspected author? Philodemus of Gadara, a 1st-century philosopher whose voice had been reduced to echoes until now. This isn't Plato or Aristotle, yet, but it's a voice unheard for 20 centuries. and 1,700 more scrolls are waiting. Could they hold the lost tragedies of Sophocles, the missing dialogues of Aristotle, or perhaps nothing at all? We won't know until the machine finishes the job. The stakes are massive. Less than 1% of ancient literature survived. 99% is gone. Out of 123 plays by Sophocles, we have 7. Aeschylus, also 7. The rest was swallowed by fire, war, and decay. This single library, this blackened time capsule, could rewrite history, or it might hold nothing but carbon. Perhaps they are duplicates. Perhaps they are dry academic notes. But one single aphorism, one scene from a lost tragedy, could shatter our understanding of the ancient world. The neural network is indifferent to greatness. It simply reads. The weight of what it finds remains for us to judge. A $700,000 bounty sparked a digital gold rush. 1,600 entries flooded in from around the globe. The winners? A student from Nebraska and researchers from Switzerland and Egypt. Working in total isolation, they reached identical conclusions. 3 minds, 3 paths, 1 undeniable truth. The method is flawless. Our second story journeys back 4,000 years to a script that has defied every attempt at decryption. Proto-Elamite. This was the dawn of civilization in modern Iran. Before the Persian Empire, before the rise of Cyrus the Great, 1,600 clay tablets discovered in Susa. For a century, they remained a wall of silence. No bilingual key exists, a language with no living relatives. A code containing over 1,000 unique, confounding symbols. In 2020, researchers from Oxford and elite tech hubs turned neural networks and cluster algorithms loose on these ancient Proto-Elamite tablets. The strategy was radical. Even if every symbol remains a ghost to us, we can map the digital architecture of the text. Which signs huddle together, their frequency, and the hidden pulse of their order. This logic separates names from numbers and goods from gods. Most are just ledgers. Wheat, cattle, and oil. This is not grand philosophy. It is Bronze Age bookkeeping. And math, unlike literature, follows brutal and unbreakable laws. Numbers own certain slots. Names own others. The AI ingested 1,600 tablets, hunting for patterns in the dark. It isolated the signs for counting and scale. We aren't translating words yet. We are exposing the very skeleton of their logic. Here is the quantity. Here is the product. Here is the official. A full decoding remains a distant shadow, but for the first time in a century, we see the mind behind the hand. Machine learning did this. Now, the most beautiful enigma. In 1908, archaeologists on Crete pulled a 16-centimeter clay disk from the island's dust. Both sides were spiraled with strange symbols. The Phaistos Disk became the ultimate obsession of 20th century archaeology. 242 signs, 45 unique symbols, 0 clues. But its greatest secret is how it was forged. These signs weren't carved. They were stamped. Individual seals pressed into soft clay like wax, over and over. This makes it the world's first printed document, created 3,000 years before Gutenberg was born. If true, a Bronze Age printing kit existed and vanished. Neural networks have now launched a multi-front assault on the disk. Pattern recognition algorithms categorized every glyph. Certain signs prefer the start of a sequence, others the end. Some only travel in pairs. The math proves this is syllabic, where signs are breaths, not just letters. This narrows the hunt. If it is syllabic, its phonetic bones must fit a specific mold, killing 1,000 false theories.
A perfect translation might never come.
242 signs is a whisper, not a conversation. But AI did what no human could. It tested every legend, from Minoan to Etruscan, Luwian to Semitic, weighing the mathematical probability of every ancient tongue. The most likely ghost? A language related to Minoan Linear A. Another silence we haven't quite broken. Our fourth story leads to Mesopotamia, the very cradle of the written word. 5,000 years ago, humans first pressed thoughts into clay. Cuneiform was cracked in the 19th century, and experts today read it with ease. But there is a different crisis. There is too much to read. Museums hold up to 1 million tablets. Most have never been seen by human eyes. Not because they are hard, but because we are slow. An expert needs days for one fragment. At this pace, the backlog would take thousands of years. A few hundred scholars against a million ghosts. The mathematics are merciless. In 2023, Munich and Google DeepMind unleashed a neural network that sees cuneiform on raw photos. Trained on tens of thousands of solved puzzles, it translates directly into English with frightening speed. Its accuracy matches a junior scholar, not a master, but a student who never sleeps. A student who processes thousands of tablets an hour is a revolution. It is already breathing life into the British Museum's archives. What did it find? The mundane truth. Ledgers, lists of workers, grain rations, and receipts for oil. It sounds boring, but these accounts make up 90% of history. These fragments tell us more about the real world than any epic. The price of a house, the cost of a human soul. The data is there, waiting to be mined in hours instead of centuries. But there is a bigger prize. Hidden in those million tablets are the texts that will break history. Lost myths, forgotten laws, diplomatic secrets from kingdoms we didn't know existed. Every unread tablet is a sealed letter from 5 millennia ago. The AI is the postman finally delivering the mail. Our fifth story is about a language once thought impossible to bridge. Rongorongo, the haunting script of Easter Island, one of the most isolated systems ever conceived. A tiny speck in the Pacific, famous for the stone giants called Moai. Rongorongo is a dance of carved wood, men, plants, and geometry. Only 26 tablets survive. Not one has been decoded. Its greatest wall is its complete isolation. Easter Island is the most remote inhabited place on Earth. Chile is 3,700 kilometers away. This script grew in a vacuum. No trade, no cross-cultural influence, no Rosetta Stone to bridge the gap. When Europeans arrived in the 19th century, they brought plague and chains. The masters of the script were wiped out. The final readers of Rongorongo took their secrets to the grave. Science arrived too late to save the living voice. A language trapped in 26 wooden fragments, a lock without a key. In 2024, computers entered the fray. Using algorithms designed for genetic sequencing, researchers stopped hunting for meaning and started mapping the soul of the syntax. Was Rongorongo true writing, or just a memory aid? A series of pictures, or a coded tongue? Neural networks dissected patterns and repetition. They hunted for the ghost of grammar in the machine. The verdict? It is likely logosyllabic, a complex dance where some symbols represent sounds and others represent entire worlds. This changes everything. It proves it is a true script, not just art. Decryption is no longer impossible, just inevitable. The final mystery is the greatest of all. An entire civilization, the Indus Valley, lost behind a wall of silence. Alongside Egypt and Mesopotamia, they ruled the Bronze Age. 5,000 years ago, they built the impossible. Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, Lothal. Metropolises that teemed with tens of thousands of souls. They had sewers, public baths, and precision bricks. Their engineering shamed Europe for the next 3 millennia. They left us 4,000 inscriptions on clay and stone. A library of secrets we cannot open. 400 unique signs. Total silence. It remains the most infamous unsolved cipher on our planet. The greatest minds of 2 centuries failed. We do not know their speech. We cannot read their names. Their gods, their homes, their very identity remains a void. A million lives forgotten in total linguistic darkness. Think about it. They built perfect urban grids 4,000 years before New York was even a dream. Every house had indoor plumbing 3 millennia before Rome. They were masters of the physical world. They traded with Mesopotamia using weights accurate to the milligram. Their seals turn up in Sumerian sands, yet their myths and prayers are lost. The Indus is the world's most literate ghost, speaking through stone. Their architecture shouts their greatness, but their language remains a haunting, impenetrable whisper. Since 2010, neural networks have been laying siege to this wall. Algorithms are hunting for a crack. The data confirmed a long-held suspicion. These signs are not art. They are a functional, living language, not random marks or decorative patterns. This is structured text, governed by the iron laws of grammar. AI detected an agglutinative pulse, a system where meaning is built by stacking prefixes and suffixes like blocks. Modern Dravidian languages share this DNA. Tamil and Telugu might be the distant echoes of this lost empire. The machine hasn't proven the link yet, but it gave us the first hard evidence in generations. The hurdle? Length. These inscriptions average 5 signs. Imagine reconstructing English from fragments like bread or keen. That is the scale of the challenge. AI can map the skeleton, but it needs meat on the bones. We need a Rosetta Stone or a longer scroll. Until then, the machine waits in the dark. Archaeologists dig on. Every season brings new clay, new seals. The key could be found tomorrow. The moment a long text surfaces, the AI will crack it in hours. The engine is idling, waiting for fuel. The machine is ready. 6 stories. 6 messages sent across the abyss of time. Charred scrolls from Herculaneum and algorithms seeing ink on ash. Proto-Elamite ledgers revealed after 4,000 silent years. The Phaistos Disk defied us for a century. Now, a computer types its obituary. Cuneiform floods the labs. Rongorongo, trapped in wood on a lonely island, finally confirmed as a true, structured voice. The Indus Empire, silent for 5 millennia, waits for the final line of code to speak. These are tales of the digital frontier. The AI does not understand the tragedy it reads. It cannot feel the sting of a poem or the weight of history. It only sees the math of meaning. Its ability to spot patterns across the infinite makes it our greatest ally. Man reads words. Machines read architecture. Together, they bridge a gap neither could cross alone. The dead are beginning to stir. Ancient scribes never imagined a machine would one day recite their ledgers. They wrote for the now, for priests, for merchants, for friends. They weren't building time capsules. They were just living. They recorded debts and prayers, never knowing their voices would survive into a digital age they couldn't fathom. A machine that feels nothing is giving them everything back. We are witnessing a linguistic resurrection. For the first time, we have a hammer strong enough to shatter the wall of ancient silence. Forget the miracles. It cannot conjure secrets from the void or find what is truly lost. But it masters lifetimes in mere heartbeats, unmasking what the human eye simply cannot perceive. It hears a silence that has lasted millennia. From scorched scrolls to clay tablets and stone seals, it pulls a haunting reality out of the dust. It bridges thousands of years to reveal one terrifyingly simple truth. They didn't want glory. They just wanted to be heard. But why did they stop screaming?